Welcome to Muse and Mastery. I'm your host, Aaliyah Cheyenne. I believe every episode is a reminder that your purpose and your artistry are worth honoring. Consider each conversation an invitation to grow, to imagine boldly, and to honor the stories shaping who you're becoming. If something here speaks to you, help me grow this community of wise creatives by sharing the show with someone you love. Now, let's get into today's episode. Hey friend, welcome back to Muse and Mastery. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today's episode will be audio only, and it's actually a replay of an episode that aired a year ago, episode 68, featuring Amber Holmes, Ancestral Wisdom, Ritual, and Transformation. This episode feels really aligned to replay for those of us who are looking to feel more grounded this time of year as we continue to navigate through winter and slowly start to make the transition into spring. This episode also feels aligned because on the previous episode, I talked a lot about rituals that make us feel rich and that rich girls have rituals. So I wanted to re-up this conversation because it felt timely and needed and soothing. So if you didn't receive the medicine a year ago, you have an opportunity to receive it now. It's also Black History Month, and despite how quiet this Black History Month has been under this administration, we will always honor it. We know that Black history is American history. Black history is global history. Black history is the history of humanity. And this month, as we honor Black History Month, I've been thinking about the lineage of Black women who have carried wellness, ritual, and ancestral wisdom forward in quiet and powerful ways. Now, many of the OGs will remember, and if you're newer to the show and haven't gone back through the archive, this might be new, but early in the podcast life, when it was under a different name, my former co-host and I intentionally highlighted Black women-owned businesses that we loved. Some of those businesses have evolved, some have since closed, and some continue to thrive. But the spirit of supporting Black women builders remains. And so I thought re-upping this episode with Amber and iSoul Naturals was very aligned. Since then, I've added new Black-owned businesses to my world. I recently started taking Black Girl vitamins, the daily gummy vitamin, and also they have a vitamin for PCOS relief, which helps with balancing your hormones and relieving and alleviating some PCOS symptoms. Those vitamins are new to my regimen, so we'll see how they go. But so far, so good. The gummies are tasty, and I'm really hoping to notice a difference in the coming months. So I will come back and let you know. I've also added another Black woman-owned business to my world. Many of you are likely familiar with the podcast Black Girls Texting. They are OGs in the podcasting space, and they also have a business called Blue Water Girls. I am currently testing out the Private Island Glow and the Private Island Body Oil. I love the oil. It is so luxurious. I feel just so glistening and divine and like a goddess when I have that on. I use it on vacations. It's great. It's made with sweet almond oil, shea oil. It has collagen peptides and some other ingredients that are really fantastic. It just feels really luxurious and delicious on my skin, and I really enjoy it. And I'm also trying out the Private Island Glow. The Private Island Glow really is the truth. It is a tanning enhancer amongst other things, like it helps to hydrate your skin, gives you a nice glow, and it helps to deepen your natural tan. And I took this with me on a trip to Mexico last November for my best friend Michaela's birthday. I used it on one of our beach days. And when I tell you that is the darkest, deepest, juiciest tan I've ever had in my life, it lasted an insanely long time. And I cannot wait to use it again on my next vacation. So those are some Black woman-owned businesses that I've added to my collection and I will continue to use and support. Now, getting back to this replay. Today, I'm replaying a conversation with Amber Holmes, who is the founder of Ancestral Naturals, because it captures that spirit beautifully, the spirit of the lineage of Black women, the power of Black women-owned businesses, and the need for Black women to continue to bring forth, to manifest, to give life to birth, to seed, to plant, to unearth our brilliant ideas and talents and business ideas. With that being said, let's jump into the replay and be sure to meet me back here next week for an all-new episode and the continuation of our season. I'll catch you at the end. Hey, friend. Welcome back to the show. I'm so excited today because we are joined by Amber Holmes. Amber is the creator, the founder, the owner, the alchemist, the healer, the practitioner behind Soul Naturals. Amber shows up with such incredible vulnerability. This conversation is rich in so many ways. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm so happy that you're here, and I'm so excited today because we have Amber Holmes on the show. Hi, Amber.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so happy to have you, and I'm so excited that you're here. And we're going to talk a little bit more about your journey and Soul Naturals and all of the incredible work that you're doing through your company. So with that, I would love to kick it over to you to share a little bit more about who you are in the world today.
Okay. All right. So as Aaliyah said, I'm Amber. I am what do I call myself? It has changed over the years because Soul Naturals has been a brand since I'll say I had my first official sale in 2016. But it is morphed. You know what? I'm not even going to say morphed. I've grown into a specific entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And in that, I've grown to who I am today. And who I am today is an herbalist, a ritual guide, an empath, a Reiki master teacher, all the things that are connected to energy and spirituality and just feel good stuff. You know, the space that I take up in this world today is really about healing, just healing self through self-nurturing, right? Tapping into our energy, tapping into the bounty that Earth provides us, and just using those things to create ritual around feeling good and being good to ourselves. Because the reality is when we are good to ourselves, we're able to be good to others and give to others and pour from that overflow.
Yes. Yeah. I love that. That's so beautiful. I really love how you speak about our connection to Earth. Connection to ourselves. I think that's so important. And it's my kind of conversation because I love this stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So I would love to talk a little bit more about your journey. As you mentioned, Soul Naturals has evolved from how it started in 2016. Something that you also refer to yourself as in the past, or maybe still currently, is an alchemist. And I think that's beautiful too. I would love to talk a little bit more about your journey with Soul Naturals and herbalism and how that's sort of evolved and grown. Well, first, let me pause a little. So I also want to say that I was introduced to you through your friend, Jen Roberts.
Yes.
Who's also been a guest on the show. Most recently, my interaction with you was at a skip day retreat from the Color Girls Liberation Lab at Bali and Springs, and you led us through the most beautiful workshop that I've experienced in a while.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed it. We had an opportunity to do like a guided meditation and visualization practice, like imagining just light and energy traveling through us. And I really set stage for the workshop and helped to really ground us in what we were about to do. And then we had an opportunity to make our own essential oils and name them and
Yeah.
describe to each other what we were calling in, why we chose those names, why we chose the herbs and the scents and the stones and everything that we wanted to use. And it was such a lovely workshop. So that was like a reintroduction to you because I had met you before, like at
Yeah.
the previous retreat that Jen and Ashante Renee had done together,
Yes.
a CEO entrepreneurship workshop for Black women. And that was also really incredible. So I always like to say how I've met people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I wanted to share that now. In being experiencing that workshop and how you sort of pivoted the work that you do over the last several years, I would love to walk through that journey a little bit more with you, how you kind of set out and started in 2016 and what
Okay.
led you to evolve to the place you're in now.
Okay. All right. Hold on. 'Cause it's a windy road. So I've been what I would call a serial entrepreneur, right? And so I've dibbled and dabbled in all things creative because that is just deeply innate in me, creativity, right? And I came about so I'd say I'll just go back to when I had my daughter. So my daughter was born 2011. I was a makeup artist at that time. So it took me outside of the home, right? Being outside of the home, it's hard to do when you have a baby and you have a baby and you have a spouse that travels for work and things like that. So it became more and more difficult to continue with the makeup. And it was just like, okay, well, I'm just going to kind of sit back from that, right? And my son, I don't know if I've ever shared this. I think I may have. I have two only children, and I call them two only children because they're 20 years apart. So my son is 33, my daughter is 13, right? And so when he was a baby, he had eczema. And with my grandmother, I still had my grandmother at that time. That's where the herbalism piece comes in because my grandmother had her relationship with the earth. She had her relationship with medicine and I learned from her, but it was in my mother. Like my mother is who spoon fed me this information, right? This knowledge comes legacy from my mother and my grandmother. I sat at their feet, right? But as I got older, I stepped away. I stepped away from it. We move far away from what we're raised with. We move far away from what we learn. You couple that with just how I thought, I wanted to be my own person. I wanted to be my own person. I didn't want to be vegetarian, and that's what we were growing up. So I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to have, grow all the herbs, have all the plants and all that stuff. But you see now I'm back to, we return home. We get back to what we know. So fast forward to my daughter being born, she also had eczema, right? So I was using the remedies that I knew at home that I learned from my mother and my grandmother. And I was still trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do as a side hustle, right? And as I started making things to relieve my daughter and I would send it to the daycare, her daycare providers were like, what is this? Can we get some? We have other people who need these, who needs this. And I started gifting stuff to people. And then one day it was just like, maybe this can be your business. And I did eventually start making soap and body care, but I still wasn't into the herbalism. I still wasn't into the natural remedies. It was looking and like, oh, well, what sells is what smells good and what looks good, So I went about making what smelled good and what looked good, all the colors and all the fluffy clouds, everything that, was aesthetically pleasing. That's what I studied and that's what I went about doing. And as the years went on, it was like, why am I not feeling fulfilled? Why am I not able to really get behind this? And as time went on, and I started turning more within and trying to understand me and understand where I am and what my purpose is, I had a reading. I had a reading in 20, because I made my first sale in 2016, and that was pretty soap, pretty pink soap, you know. So from 2016, 2018, 19, I was in business, but it was kind of ebb and flow, like I would have these bursts of great sales and then it was just like, not doing so well. When I had this reading, the woman said, you are a healer, um, but you're hiding behind your products. And I'm like, well, what does that mean?
Yeah.
What exactly does that mean? I just went about the work of really sitting and really hearing, trying to hear from my ancestors, trying to hear from spirit, trying to understand what exactly does that mean. And she said, as a healer, your work can look like massage therapy. Really, the work is about you. You are the healer, not your products. You can use the products as a catalyst.
Yeah.
However, it's not your products. And so I went about trying to figure out, again, reading after reading, reading with different people. Like I'm looking for readings everywhere. Somebody help me. Somebody help me figure out what this means. What am I supposed to be doing? But I had to get quiet.
Yes.
I had to sit and get quiet so that I could hear and stop searching and really get into feeling, right? And understanding. And at that point, things started showing up in dreams. I'm starting to dream about chamomile and different herbs. And then I had a dream where my grandmother came to me and said, you know what to do. And it's like, what to do? What to do? And then as we sat deep into the pandemic, it was like, okay,
Yeah.
you know what's going on. Like the way that people were calling and it's like, oh, I have COVID and I don't want to take the shot, or I took the shot and I want to do this and I want to do that, or I want to get in touch with myself. I'm just rattling off stuff. Oh, you need to take this, you need to take this eucalyptus oil and put it in the shower with you and rub your back with this and rub your chest and drink ginger. We need to be drinking ginger every day. And it was like, this stuff is just pouring out of you.
Yes.
This stuff is pouring out of you. And it was like, this is your work. Like you are to be back in touch. You're returning home to what you know. You're to be back in touch with the herbs. This is the stuff you know. And then I don't know if you remember, like at the height of quarantine, Clubhouse was popping. Everybody was on Clubhouse. And I remember entering these different herbalism rooms because it was just like, okay, let's see. And I would have conversations around the herbs. And then there was this one woman where she had said, yeah, this is your work. And I said, yeah, but I need to figure out where to get my certification. And she was like, what? She said, what are you talking about? You received your certification sitting at the feet of your mother and your grandmother.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
Yeah. She was like, people will have you believe that you have to be certified. People will have you believe that you have to know everything about every herb that grows. And that's just not the case. What comes is you understand what people need. You understand your people. You understand your community. So when somebody comes and says, I need help with my blood sugar, then it's like, yeah, you know what to tell them to do because that's your people, that's your community. And that's what you need to know. You don't need a certification. You don't need somebody to send you a bunch of slides to study and then you pass some little test. And the other thing that a lot of people don't realize is that there's no regulatory agency for herbalism here in this country. There's nothing to regulate. So who's to tell me? I could not know one damn thing about herbs and still walk outside and say I'm an herbalist. But I sat at the feet of my mother and my grandmother. So that's where my certification comes from. And that is what brought me to today, is really understanding that that is my work. The intention oil workshop that you participated in, I could do that all day without compensation because it's from here,
Yes.
So Yeah, I think that's the long answer to how I got here.
That's a beautiful answer, first of all. Like,
Thank you.
so much for just sharing your story and your testimony. Like, so many things hit home for me while you were talking. I love the phrase you used of returning home, returning to home, returning home. Like, that is such a powerful phrase. And I love the way you also said, like, I sat at my grandmother and my mother's feet. That's my certification. But even when you say that, that I feel something too when I hear that.
Yeah.
It reminds me of I had Ebony Janice Moore on the show too, and she talked
Ooh.
about authority in her work. And she talked about that too. Like, who are some of these people in these institutions to tell me what I know? You can't tell me
Exactly.
what I don't know from my grandmother, my mother, my great grand. You can't, you know? And I feel like what you just said reaffirms that in so many ways. And it's the lived experience of so many incredible Black women in particular who built
Exactly.
wisdom ancestrally or because it was passed down from our grandmothers and our mothers. And we live in a world that would try to discredit us and tell us otherwise because we don't have a document or paperwork to
Exactly.
say that we know
Exactly.
what we know.
Exactly. And all they did was, when I say they, westernized, all they did was appropriate the information, package it, put it in some PDFs and sell it to you and say,
Yeah.
okay, you can pass because you answered the right, you selected the right dial next to the answer, you know? So yeah.
Yeah. I am getting the sense or the feeling that through the evolution of your own journey and ISOL Naturals, you've really stepped more into yourself and become more of yourself. And like you said, return home. And I feel like that's such a profound journey for you. But also, I would love to know how you see transformation and alchemy happening for the people who work with you, the people you support. I
Mm.
how I felt after that workshop, but I'm one person, so I would love to know more about what you see as you're working with folks day to day.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey, creative. If you've been craving a slower, more intentional way to check in with yourself, I want to share something close to my heart. I created a guided journal with writing prompts for growth and emotional wellness, designed to help you process, reflect, and reconnect with what's actually going on beneath the surface. It's gentle, honest, and meant to meet you right where you are. If journaling has ever helped you make sense of your seasons, or if you want it to, check the episode description to learn more. Think of it as a companion in your becoming. Now let's get back to the episode.
So what I see is really people the same,
Yeah.
returning home to self, because I am a firm believer in so some moments of vulnerability. Right at the beginning of that of the workshop that we did, I was saying that I came out of a very, very dark period.
Yeah.
Um, mid from summer 2023 until I would say uh when we had the workshop, a little before when we had the workshop, um, I had to, I had no choice but then to really just turn and completely focus on myself, because if I didn't, I was going to lose it, because I had spent the majority of my adulthood self-sacrificing and pouring into others. And I don't blame anyone. It's how I was socialized. It's what, how we talk about how we grow up and some of the traumas that happen, and how that creates the adults that we are. And with that, I had to get to a place where it was like, it's Amber for Amber. And when Amber is for Amber, that means Amber being her most authentic self so that she can operate in her purpose. Because in the person that I wasn't operating in my purpose. As I shared that about not having the fulfillment, that was because I wasn't operating in my purpose. And when when you're here and you're moving about on earth in this body, if you're not fulfilling your purpose, you are going to constantly and consistently get dragged.
Yes.
And so there's a point where you get tired of the dragging, right? And so it's like, okay, God, universe, spirit, everybody, please just work with me and let me know I'm open
Yeah.
and use me so that I can fulfill my purpose,
Yeah.
right? And for that, ritual is saved my life. And I think that's what I said during that workshop. Ritual saved my life. I created my first intention oil based on having to be out in the world and have something to bring me back to myself, bring me back centered, to ground me, right? The aura water. All of these things became ritual. The baths, like I lived in a bathtub. I still do, just because water grounds me. And then I amplify the water by the herbs and all of those things, right? Herbs and crystals and everything. So with that, um, it's it really is just using ritual. Like I had to heavily lean into ritual to save me. And so working with others is about helping them save themselves
Yeah.
through ritual, through herbalism and ritual. And so wonder, did I answer your question or did I answer it?
You literally just did.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for your vulnerability and your transparency. I love to hear how you were able to put rituals and herbalism and systems in place for yourself to bring you home to yourself, and how in
Yeah.
doing that work, you are then able to help others do the same thing.
Yeah.
And it brings me back to something you were saying earlier, even before that, about how you were searching, searching, searching. I feel like there are a lot of us who can relate to that. I definitely can. I love a reader. I love an astrologer.
Yes.
I love a modality. I love all the things. And uh, I can read everything and listen to every interpretation, whatever, and still not feel 100% clear or satisfied, because that also requires sitting still and going inward, just like you said, and really being in tune with yourself and in tune with whatever you believe in, God,
Yeah.
spirit, whatever, like really just being still and listening and turning inward.
Yeah.
So I think that's really powerful and profound too. And that's a great example for anyone else who might be searching,
Mhm.
trying to figure it out. Be still,
Yeah.
go
Be
in,
still.
create ritual for yourself that helps you to feel good, because then your light will help to pour into other people. Your light will help to spark something in others. Your example will help to show others the way. So I think that's really beautiful.
Thank you.
I would love to know, just again, so you've evolved a lot with the business, and I would love to know, have there been any like hiccups with that evolution? Maybe some people who were used to you presenting a certain way with products and that pivoted over the years, maybe they they're kind of looking for the old thing, or what has that transition kind of looked like for you?
Actually, the transition is not been as hard as I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to have to like scrap and start from ground zero, right? But the interesting thing is, while the products look different, I have always been who I am.
Yes.
And when they say that your customer comes for you,
Yeah.
that is so true. And I've come to realize that it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm not going to say that it doesn't matter at all what the product is, right? Um, but I'll give an example. One of my top selling soaps is a soap I call Nola Darling, right? And with Nola, she's pink. And she's pink, and I was using a mica, a pink color, right? But now that I'm leaning more into plants and herbs, I highlight the oils that go into the product, but I'm also not using micas anymore, or I'm not using them as much. So I'm using rose clay mixed with something else to create that pink, right? And people are like, I still love it. It's
Yeah.
still Nola. It's still Nola. And now with the pivot, it's more about highlighting the natural products, the plant aspects of the item, and the energetics. So some of the items haven't actually changed, and with that, I'm grateful because I've always been at the core, the business is still what it's been,
Yeah.
so I didn't have to go through major hoops to change,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. It's kind of random, but I don't know if you do, but I kind of wanted to ask, like, with different products, like how you mentioned the Nola Soap is pink, like a shade of pink for that pink color. Do you apply any sort of I don't think color therapy is the right word, but like there are some intentions behind certain colors. Do you apply that with some of your products?
Yes. There's certain intentions. There's intention behind every product, right? There's certain intentions behind every product.
Yeah.
Earlene's Lavender Dream. Earlene is my mother. Earlene is my muse. That has purple.
Mm-hmm.
And that is really about the royalty. That really is about her and just her being my muse. People may think that it's about the fact that it's a lavender soap, but no, it's an ode to her.
Yeah.
With our Deuces, our detox soap, right? It's a charcoal soap. It's all black because we're really detoxing and protecting, so that black is about the protection.
Yeah.
So every product has an intention. And so I think you were asking about the color and the intention. And I think what people call, what society calls that is color theory. If there's any
Yes.
color theory, right? Is there color theory? I didn't seek out to use color theory or color therapy,
Yeah.
but it just so happened to be in alignment
Yeah.
because again, we are who we are at our core. And so these things come into play as
Yeah.
I'm creating and designing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. It makes me think about too how so much of these practices they're really just innate in us and ancestral, but we
Yeah.
do live in a world that likes to slap a label on everything and repackage
Right.
ancestral wisdom as something. So sometimes I'm just like, okay. But many of us just know this stuff innately. Even if that wasn't the intention, you know it. That's why you were led to do it that way. I only brought that up and asked because I recently did a New Year's manifestation workshop thing online and
Nice.
thought it was really lovely. I enjoyed it. But one of the things that you have to do with it is a little workbook to write your vision for yourself, write your intention for yourself, all the things. And I think that person was also using color theory because they had us writing on pink paper with red pen.
Mm.
And the pink was supposed to symbolize the intention or the vision being wrapped in love. And
Yes.
the red ink was supposed to help us feel more grounded, to start from the base of our
From the root.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey, creative. If you're craving a quieter corner of the internet, one that's thoughtful, soulful, and actually nourishing, I'd love to invite you to my Substack. You can follow me at Aaliyah Cheyenne on Substack, where I write The Feminine Urge to Create and Pages and Portals. It's where I share reflections on creativity, purpose, books, and becoming. A slow, honest writing for this season of your life. If that sounds like your kind of space, check the episode description and come sit with me there. Okay, let's get back to the episode. And so that when our dreams and stuff are coming in, we feel grounded in them. It doesn't smack us in the face and we feel overwhelmed. We feel rooted in.
Exactly.
And I was like, I never heard that before. And let me make sure I'm writing everything on pink paper, red pen now.
Yeah, yeah. And so I'm just thinking of how some people, and this is random but not, when you talk about the red, how common it is for some women to go and grab red underwear. It's grounding.
Mm-hmm.
It's grounding. Society will tell you that it's sexy,
Yeah.
but it's grounding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's our root chakra is all, and our root chakra is at our hips.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's really random, but that's what I thought about when you said that.
And I'm like, we're feeding
Hmm.
off of each other. But
Hmm.
I even went down that road because of the pink soap. And I was thinking,
Yeah.
and you were able to take it a step further and explain that.
Hmm.
Thank you for that. I think we're living in a time that's very interesting too. Not to get deep into like political stuff, but our country is moving further and further a certain way.
Yeah.
And more people who unfortunately are losing open-mindedness about a lot of things, and demonize it in a lot of ways, honestly. So I think, fortunately, you and I are in spaces where that's not our reality.
Exactly.
Surround ourselves with people who are aligned.
Hmm.
But even in that, I would love to hear your thoughts or your perspective on any sort of maybe in trying to expand or in trying to like get more people on board to support your work or garner new customers. Have you faced any sort of like backlash or any aspects of like herbal healing that have kind of like made you pause a second to like reevaluate partnership or reevaluate like customer or anything like that?
Honestly, no.
Okay.
My intention, my prayer, my meditation is always about aligning me with my people,
Yes.
attracting
Yeah.
my people.
Yeah.
I will honestly say that there were times when in marketing or even in showing up in public spaces or on social media, I would kind of temper what I'm saying.
Hmm.
But I'm just now it's just like this is me, this is my work.
Yeah.
I'm going to attract who needs my work.
Yeah.
I'm going to attract. And in order for me to attract who needs my work, my people, I actually need to be okay with being front and center with what it is. And I can honestly say that I was not always that way. I wasn't always comfortable with that. But, you know, like I said, I done morphed into it.
Mhm.
I've arrived at who I am. I've
Yeah.
experienced a bit of a rebirth, so to
Yeah.
speak, and now this is my purpose. This is what you get.
Yeah.
And where are my people? And
Yeah.
they're coming, and people do fall off. Yeah. And some people just don't understand, and that's okay because I believe that everybody gets to a point in life where they will understand.
Yes.
And whether they understand at a time where our paths will cross, that's left to be in question.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is my meditation and my prayer each day. Just have my people be open to me and me open to my people.
Yeah. I love the way that you set the intention and you pray about it and, call that alignment in. And it also makes me think about something you said earlier about how
Okay.
when you had gotten that reading previously, the person had told you were hiding behind your products.
Yeah.
And now you've stepped into a space where you're no longer hiding because you have returned home. So I think that's like a beautiful way to approach the way you show up online and the way you're marketing yourself and your services and your products and all of that. I think that's really beautiful. Something else that I kind of thought about that you
Hmm.
said earlier too was that when you're kind of conjuring up this idea and this business and returning to yourself, you were dreaming about certain things. Your grandmother visited you. You were dreaming about different herbs. How much does dreaming still impact your work now? Like, are you still sort of connected in that way? And are you
Yeah.
still like inspired by your dreams? And yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I'm of a bigger age, I don't always remember all of what's happening. So I travel. I have little notebooks everywhere. So I have notebook beside my bed because I gotta I gotta get it out if I wake up. Because I don't always have dream recall, right?
Yeah.
So when I do, and it's specifically something that, we would consider a download, I
Hmm.
gotta write it down.
Hmm.
Got to write it down. So yeah, being in touch with not just sleep dreaming, but daydreaming,
Yeah. Yep.
day visioning,
Yeah.
write it down. So yeah, I am very connected and still very much. Sometimes I even ask especially my mother and my grandmother, and both are deceased, right? I'm like, come to me, please. Let's talk. Give me some information. Let me know if I'm on the right path here,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah,
And
very still connected.
yeah, that's beautiful. I love when I connect with and meet people who are also like very in touch with their dreams because I am
Hmm.
too. I'm like, I need to get better. I need to do what you're doing and keep the notebook by my bed. I used to, and then I stopped doing it.
Okay.
A lot of times I do have dream recall, like I can, but then there are some days where it's just like on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah.
I need to get like you and make sure I have the notebook by my bed.
Yeah. And then when you want to be intentional about your dreaming, like you want to bring in lucid dreaming and be able to have the recall, have some mugwort before you go to bed.
All
Yeah.
right. Wait, there's plenty of that in my neighborhood. I like I took
Oh,
foraging group
yes.
a
Oh,
couple
that's
of years,
beautiful.
yeah, a couple of years ago. And like once I actually learned how to identify mugwort, I was like, oh, this is everywhere in my neighborhood. It's
Mm.
everywhere in my neighborhood. So yeah,
Yeah. Look, take it up. Thank the earth for it.
yeah, absolutely.
Dry it in your oven and ground it up for some tea.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And the fact that it grows rampantly in your neighborhood means that it's there for you.
Yeah.
That's what that's the belief. That is my understanding. That is the belief. That is what I learned and gathered from my mom, my grandmother. Most herbalists will say, if it's growing freely and rapidly in your area, then it's for you. It's for you and whoever your community is. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of dandelion that grows
Mm.
in my neighborhood. And so a lot of dandelion and a lot of goldenrod during the spring. And so these are things that this community need.
Yeah. I think that's so beautiful. It's making me think about my grandmother, who is still very much here,
Beautiful.
but she loves gardening and very much into her gardening and not just flowers, but also herbs and,
Nice.
food. Like she's very much into growing. And some years back, I think even pre-pandemic, she had gotten a bunch of like free dandelion seeds. So
Mm.
she and a friend went around like the neighborhood, just like putting it everywhere. So now every year when they pop up, I'm just like, okay, grandma.
Look, and people with dandelion growing in yards, people think that that it's weed, and they're like, cut all this weed, and I'm like, wait, let me grab that before you cut your grass.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey, creative. If you love a good deal, and let's be real, most of us do in this economy, consider this your friendly reminder. I've tucked a bunch of discounts and referral rewards into my Linktree, including free meals and savings with HelloFresh, plus a few other favorites I actually use. If you've been thinking about making life a little easier, trying something new, or just saving where you can, now's a great time. Check the episode description to snag a discount, grab a code, and treat yourself while the deals are still dealing. Now, let's get back to the episode. Yeah, it's good for a lot of things, like heart health and all kinds of
Yeah.
all.
Yep. Heart health, kidney health. Yeah. Yep.
I had seen something once. I don't remember what medication it is, but there's a specific heart medication. They actually use dandelion in it. But of course, they make people, pharmaceutical industry, they make people go buy the medication instead of being like, hey, you can forage this and
Exactly.
do it on your own.
Listen.
Lower.
Yeah, that's my biggest gripe with the pharmaceutical industry because it's all really based on plant medicine.
Yes. Yes. That's why your work and the work of everyone who's doing plant medicine and herbalism is so important. And I'm just really grateful to be chatting
Thank
with
you.
you today. But I would also love to know, I feel like you probably draw inspiration from so many different places. And I would love to know what sort of inspires your creativity still, like in this current season of your life. Where are you
Okay.
drawing your inspiration from?
Honestly, my inspiration is drawn from Mother Nature.
Yes.
Um, and then the people, just people around me. I'm inspired by so much. I'm inspired by people like you, Jen. Yeah, yeah. I mean, because like I shared earlier, I was not always in a space where I felt free to be me and do my work. So to witness people, specifically women, doing, what they're called to do, what they feel led to do, it's beautiful and it's inspiring. I've been inspired by my work. My work inspires me.
Yes.
I find appreciation and inspiration in almost everything.
Yeah.
I will cry at the drop of a hat because something just moves me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's really beautiful. Thank you
thank you.
for sharing that. I would love to ask you, especially as someone who is in the wellness space and you have all of these rituals and systems in place for yourself to take care of you. You have customers, you do like workshops like you've done with Color Girls Liberation Lab. I feel like I could get an understanding what self-care looks like for you, but what does community care look like for you in your personal life, whether that be through your work or if that's just you directly, like could look like friendships, it could look like anything. What does community care look like for you?
Community care looks like exactly what you said, friendships, being able to connect with women like you, Jen, being able to go and have a skip day at Bally and
Yeah.
facilitate a workshop, but then play and be able to just sit and be with women, be with my peers. Community care looks like somebody calling and saying, hey, I'm not feeling well, and we just have a conversation. And then it's like, okay, what's your address? And I send a care package.
Yeah.
And the same happening for me,
Yes.
community care. So we grow up having friends, right? And friends and family. And sometimes our family are our closest friends. At this point in my life, I realize just how important community is.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, going through that period, and I'm still in it, but I'm on the light side, right? I'm on the side where I got through the darkest days. I've experienced the dark night of the soul,
Yeah.
right? And community got me through those days.
Yes.
The women who supported me, the women who just held me up, the women who said, girl, we got you. And they not only said it, but they showed me,
Yeah.
they held me. And then as I started to come out and experience my transformation and experience my rebirth, and I'm questioning whether I could do this work, whether people wanted this work and could feel this work, because I'm very much a feeler. I'm feeling a way about this work, but will others feel the same?
Yeah.
Community, my people, that's who were like, girl, this is you. I've always been waiting to see her.
Yeah.
So in seeing myself through those eyes, I wouldn't have been able to without community.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really.
Community care.
Yeah.
Yeah. Community care. Community care is necessary.
Yeah.
We cannot traverse this earth by ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. And be successful. And
Yeah.
success is relative.
Yes. Yeah. But we can't do it alone. I love what you said about the women in your life who held you up when you couldn't hold yourself up. Like that's so powerful. And yeah, it just makes me think about the time we're in. Like a lot of people, especially on the other side of lockdown, basically.
Yeah.
I won't say COVID because COVID still exists, but on the other side
Right.
of lockdown, so many people, their relationships have transformed, their sense of community has transformed.
Absolutely.
We were experiencing loneliness before, like the percentages of people who only feel more lonely now. Like there's just a lot going on. And in every opportunity I get, I try to remind people that, community is important. And
Yeah.
one thing I was intentional about the last couple of years, and I still am now, is like finding my community,
Yeah.
growing my friendships, meeting new people. And I did intentional things to do that. And
Good.
one place that's led me is one of my new friends, Iman, if she's listening, she has an effort that she's working on to have more community care sessions. And that's look like women getting together and talking and connecting and playing.
Beautiful.
You know,
Yes,
it matters so much.
it does.
I love what you shared about that in your experience.
Thank you.
I would love to know if you feel comfortable sharing, what are you dreaming up next for ISOL Naturals?
I am very comfortable sharing because it's a work that is very near and dear. And I was trying to figure out, like in my introduction, I said, okay, I'm an herbalist, I'm a Reiki practitioner, I'm a ritual guide. So how do we marry all of these things, right? And as I said, ritual saved my life. So did Reiki. Yeah, because in my darkest period, one of my good friends was like, well, aren't you a Reiki practitioner? You
Hmm.
know, you need to use those tools. You
Yeah.
need to use those tools on yourself. Like, don't forget that you have this ability. And I had forgotten because I was just so down in the muck
Right.
that I forgot,
Yeah.
And turning to that was transformational.
Yeah.
It was transformational. And so the work that I'm doing now, or one of the things that I will be rolling out now, there's two things specifically. Well, three things specifically. I know the more the merrier. So prior to the holiday season, there was lots of chatter amongst me and some friends about, like, I take baths. I'm a spiritual bath person.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah. So my girlfriend was just like, you really need to sell these spiritual baths, sell it as a ritual. And I'm just like, oh, well, I don't know what that's going to look like, because I can send you a whole bunch of herbs and I can send you, the guide on what to do. And she said, no, actually brew the bath, brew it with all of what you do, the intention, the crystals, the woods, the resins, all of that. Do that, bottle it with instruction and basically make it a concentrated bath. You pour it in your bath because people don't want to have to clean their bath with a whole bunch of herbs and all of that stuff. So that's one thing, because I gifted the spiritual bath to this girlfriend. She wanted one custom for the new year.
Yeah.
So I gifted that to her, and she's like, yeah, this is a thing. You need to be doing this. She was like, this is a thing. This has to be a thing.
Yeah.
So that's coming.
Yes.
The other thing is just the realization that people don't know seasonally what herbs they may need seasonally. So I'm creating a seasonal herbal medicine cabinet, which is,
Okay.
I'm just going to send a box.
Yes.
It can be a subscription or you can order for whatever season you want. But I'm going to send a box of some herbs that you need to have in your home for that season.
Yeah.
Right. And it will be for you to use medicinally and with ritual. So that's coming as well. And the big one, which is really close to my heart, it's a program where we sit and we have a conversation, right? Reflect. We have a reflection. Upon what comes out of that reflection, I do a Reiki session to clear whatever blockages or amplify whatever energy is there, right? And then we create remedy around what you need and ritual around what you need. So that's a 4R process:
Yeah.
a reflection, Reiki, remedy, and ritual. So we're just trying to figure out how to package that right now.
Yeah.
But
Oh my
that's
God.
what's coming.
All of those sound amazing. Sign me up for everything. That sounds so good. Especially I'm thinking about the spiritual baths, because when I started getting into those, I was really trying to find someone that I trust to
Yeah.
help me with that. And I
Okay.
got guidance from someone that I trusted, and I did a series with them. And I felt like that made a difference for me at the time. And then
Beautiful.
it was just, still kind of curious and trying to figure out who to go with. And admit, in the past, I've gone with a few different people trying to figure out what to do. And I personally don't like mixing all of that. So the idea of someone that I know, that I trust, like doing that, it sounds very nice to me. And I'm just excited. I love the idea of like some sort of subscription to like help people have the right herbs in their home. Like that's beautiful too. I love the program. However you package it, it already sounds nice to me. So I'm like, okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
That is so exciting and so beautiful. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited.
Yes, very exciting. In addition to those things that are coming down the line, I know there's plenty of things you already have. So
Yes.
where can folks find you to get products, to get services, to support you in your work?
So the website is isonaturals.com, and I am isonaturals on all platforms. Yeah, isonaturals on IG, Twitter, because I'm not going to call it X.
Listen, I'm going to call it that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not that active on the the tickety talk. I'm not active on
I
TikTok.
love TikTok.
You love TikTok? See, I had a couple experiences where I was going to upload something on TikTok and I look up and it's 2 hours later and I have been down the rabbit hole and still didn't upload what I was going to upload. And I was like, no, I can't mess with I can't mess with TikTok. TikTok is going to steal my time.
They call it TikTok for a reason.
They call it TikTok for a reason. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that struggle. Okay, that's great. I will make sure that I link all of those in the episode description so that folks can find you easily and
Thank
see
you.
your work. And
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, this has just been so wonderful, Amber. I'm so glad to have had this time to chat with you and
Thank you, Aaliyah.
you more and being so vulnerable. This has been really beautiful.
I appreciate you and this opportunity.
Yes.
I love your work. I love the podcast. So I truly appreciate you inviting me to be a guest.
Thank you. What an incredible conversation with Amber. Amber, thank you so much for showing up so vulnerably, so authentically, so in your power and in your purpose in our conversation. I really enjoyed chatting with you, and I know everyone listening will enjoy our conversation too. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to share it with a friend. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts and you haven't rated or reviewed the show yet, what are you doing, friend? Please, please, please leave us a 5-star rating and a positive written review. It goes a long way. It's free to do, and it's really meaningful and helpful for me and for the show. If you're listening on Spotify, you can leave us a comment there and also hit that 5th star. Leave us a 5-star rating on Spotify as well, or any other podcast platform that you're listening on. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave us a comment, follow the channel, and share this video with a friend. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. Thank you for lending me your time, your energy, and your ears. And I will catch you on the next episode. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Muse and Mastery. I hope this conversation felt like nourishment for your creative spirit. If you enjoyed the episode, share it, leave a 5-star rating and a written review, and pass it along to someone who needs it. Let me know what you're taking away from this episode, from your reflections to any questions, by sending a text or a voice note to the show, and I'll respond in a future episode. Your support keeps the space alive and growing. Until next time, creative, keep showing up for your creativity with purpose, devotion, and audacity.